Hey everybody, how's it going? So Doctor Strange 2 is set to currently explore several locations, not only in the Marvel Universe, but throughout the multiverse, with certain dimensions and universes likely to also be included alongside of things like parallel timelines, which were heavily featured in Avengers Endgame. And with Fantastic Four on the horizon to hopefully join the MCU soon, it does seem unlikely we'll get a traditional origin story for the first family of Marvel. So most likely another Phase 4 or maybe even Phase 5 film will serve as a backdoor pilot to introducing these characters within the MCU universe. Now, many individuals such as myself thought that at one point the Quantum Realm featured either in Ant-Man and the Wasp or even Avengers Endgame would serve in some respects as an introductory point for the Fantastic Four, or maybe even the upcoming Ant-Man 3, which was confirmed, which would be actually a perfect situation considering director Peyton Reed has campaigned very hard to hopefully adapt the family. Whether he's been successful or not is really up for debate and behind the scenes, so we don't really know. But that kind of interest has been very publicly expressed, which is why a lot of people thought an Ant-Man and the Wasp introduction would have been really organic. While it does appear that obviously Ant-Man 3 could be a potential launching point, more so than not, Doctor Strange 2 probably is a much more attractive candidate. And that doesn't really mean that Ant-Man 3 isn't possible. It just seems that Ant-Man 3 at this time will more likely than not establish a Young Avengers franchise. So if they're going to be doing that, it probably wouldn't work out to do a Young Avengers franchise and also do a backdoor introduction to the Fantastic Four. Now, with the Fantastic Four, it does seem like Marvel won't adapt the classical space origins, but probably instead do the more contemporary alternate dimension travel accident kind of route. And while we've seen that in Fantastic, the film was very easily forgettable and almost universally panned. So I'm sure Marvel wouldn't mind redoing it again, especially with their newfound interest in exploring alternate universes. And some of the original pre-studio involvement, especially with the script, features some very interesting elements I think would be included with the reboot. Now, the reason why is because Kevin Feige at Marvel Studios as a whole have been very forward with taking modern inspirations, whether it's from other film adaptations, TV adaptations, Ultimate Comics, or even more recent Marvel storylines within the 616 universe. And within a very early version of the Fantastic original script, Annihilus is involved in the movie and is actually an alien creature on the mysterious planet Zero, within the alternate dimension that Reed Richards' teleportation machine sends everybody. Now, Annihilus in this film is also responsible directly for the modifying of the Fantastic Four, which gives them their various superhuman abilities, which obviously in Josh Trank's original vision weren't so superhuman glorious as they are usually in comics, but more so were seen as a partial affliction. So there's a lot of horror, negative elements to each person having their abilities, such as Johnny Storm for at least a few concept art pieces. His skin would literally burn off every time he would go flame on. Reed Richards, for example, couldn't control his abilities, so without a special harness, he'd constantly be drooping. It was a much more darker take on the Marvel's first family. This actually created a very interesting and integral connection between the Fantastic Four and Annihilus, making him more or less the series antagonist instead of Doom, which according to a lot of reports is very much so the direction that MCU wants to go, since Doom obviously shouldn't just be restricted to only interacting with the Fantastic Four. And this could actually build off of what we've seen already by Janet Van Dyne receiving superhuman abilities due to her isolation and exposure, just like Ghost, to the quantum realm. So it's very possible that we're going to see things like different human characters, if they're in a certain realm for too long without magical protection from a being such as Doctor Strange, they may come out of that dimension with certain superhuman abilities. Now, having another dimension appear would probably be something like the Negative Zone or End Zone. Most likely, that would be a great appearance for a lost location of the Fantastic Four, and it could work really well as a reveal in Doctor Strange 2, whether them actually showing the Fantastic Four in there, or at least Doctor Strange maybe directly referencing the Negative Zone or End Zone as a certain dimension within the multiverse. Also, along with this, Kevin Feige has teased a few times that there are characters that he's been waiting years to introduce into the MCU that we will finally see in Doctor Strange 2. And while a lot of people have assumed due to the director, or I guess previous director's teases, that it would be Namor, it could very much so be the Fantastic Four. And that would actually be really interesting as well, because they could use this to not only introduce the FF, but maybe introduce Annihilus as that series villain, potentially building up to an Annihilation Wave event movie, which would be very interesting and definitely a new and fresh and very well received direction for the MCU's first family, just because for the most part, every Fantastic Four story we've seen on a large screen or with a lot of hype has always at the end of the day been Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom. I think we're all ready for something new, but leave your comments down below. What do you guys think? And we'll see you guys later.